What's up, Rainmaker family? Another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. We're just going to have a candid conversation about a conversation I had this morning with someone in our community. And I feel like they're struggling with these things in their head. And I just so recognize those things in their head because we have those things. A lot of people have those things. And we just want to talk about it, bring it to light. And the topic of this episode is, which comes first, the mindset or the money?
That's good.
So, Chelsey, I saw this clip on Instagram recently. You know, I've been on Instagram. We've been growing our Instagram, but also that includes me scrolling on Instagram to find viral content.
That's true.
And there was this pastor, and he brings this guy from this congregation up on stage. He's like one of these hip pastors, you know. And he brings this guy who is just yoked. Like, this guy is just, I mean, he's wearing like a sleeveless shirt. And I mean, it's a gun show up there. Okay. And he's like, guys, Thor, let's just say he's like, his name's Thor, right? So Thor up here, me and Thor go to the same gym, you know, and he kind of saying this, me and Thor go to the same gym. Me and Thor lift the same weights, like maybe different sizes, but we lift the same weights. Like me and Thor, like do the same things, do the same exercises. Why does Thor look different than me? And he takes his shirt off, like he takes his like coat off. So you can see
now I want to see this reel.
You can see his arms, you know, and it's like stark difference between Thor and the pastor. And his big like message was just like, Thor doesn't just go to the gym. He takes the gym with him. Like when he's eating, he has that mindset. When he's, you know, structuring his day, he has that mindset, right? And he's doing it at a higher level. Like he's leaning in to the same thing, but experiencing a different result. And I feel like in the entrepreneurship world, it's very easy to compare, right? And bring Thors into your life and go, well, why am I not like Thor, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is, like, there is little nuances where you can feel like I'm doing all the same things. Why am I not experiencing the results that person is experiencing? And really, it comes down to mindset. And I had this conversation with the Rainmaker this morning, and she was just hitting these walls. Like we all hit walls in entrepreneurship. She was hitting these walls. And she brought up multiple things that were just like, these are mental like giants for her. And I was just talking through these things with her. And I feel like we got to a little bit of breakthrough, but mindset is just one of those things that's going to take some work, you know? So I hope she's listening to this podcast. I hope she's listening to our Mindset Monday calls that happen every Monday, because these things do take time to renew. Like a lot of times, lifetime of narratives around money, around things that you're trying to break through. And so specifically today, we want to talk about money, mindsets around money, because a lot of times we make money bigger for some reason in our lives. Like we could conquer something else, like, you know, weight loss, you lose all this weight, or, you know, healing in your relationships, or parenting. Like you have these like big, huge giants that you conquer, like you have authority in. But for some reason, money or debt, it's just like this bigger, scarier thing. And so we just want to talk about that today and share some stories from our own lives, as well as, you know, share some of the kind of the walls running around this Rainmaker's mind, because I think you'll relate.
I also think another key thing is in entrepreneurship, especially when you do hit walls, because they will happen. Like you hit walls in life, you hit walls and as a parent, there's things that are hard that you feel almost like not equipped for, even though you really are and you can do it. I think in those moments too, it's really easy to like think of, I love this phrase, like the grass is greener concept. Like, oh, it would just be so much easier if I, instead of decide to run a product shop business, I did digital marketing instead. Or instead of that, I joined a network marketing company. Or instead, I became a real estate investor. Like that would be so much easier because of X, Y, and Z. And the thing is like any path you take, even if it has the most risk reversal, the most money back guarantee, the most like we have gone through the steps like we've done in Rainmakers and are constantly elevating and are constantly learning and growing to make it easier for our students. There's always going to be challenges. And oftentimes I feel like we are the ones, and I say this from experience, we are the ones that hold ourselves back from what is truly possible. I think there's belief. I think there's trauma that happens. I think there's things that we sometimes we're not even fully aware of. Like I've been working with a mindset coach this last year. And one of the things that has brought me so much, not peace, but just comfort is like sometimes like the programming in my brain, like I didn't do it, just they're there from birth. And so it's recognizing those and then creating new thought pattern. So if you feel like you're in this cycle, I just want to encourage you, sometimes it's not always your fault. But it is your job and it is your responsibility to work through those things. And I think sometimes people like poo poo, like, oh, mindset. I just want the tactic. I just need the strategy. I just need help with this one glitch. But
Mhm.
I want to like really challenge that thinking because there's always something underneath. There's always something underneath that, I mean, we see this all the time with like like with your body, even reaction to money or how you have a conversation about it or your belief about something. It really does hold you back. And I know that sometimes it can sound like a lot of like woo woo or just like, oh, that person over there just got lucky, or that
Mm.
person over there like had money coming
Yeah, yeah,
in, or they grew up with money. So therefore it's easier. I think I had that mindset a lot. Like
yeah,
I didn't grow up with money. And my parents worked very hard. They instilled in me this never ever give up mentality. And I'm so grateful for it. But I just remember even as a kid, like looking at other families around me and just saying, like, oh, it must be so much easier for them because they have money,
yeah. That was
And
one thing that she said
yeah.
on the call was just
Mm,
like, "Oh" yeah, that's something I hear a ton is like, "Oh, like, well, it's easier for you to have the mindset because, like, you've broken through this, like, you
mm,
have the money." It's like, "No, the mindset comes before the money." Like, the
mhm,
mindset the analogy that I've given before is like, it's almost like, okay, there's a destination, which is the
mhm,
result you're looking for. Weight loss, making money, like, whatever that thing is, quitting your job, that's the result, okay?
mhm,
There's like is a vehicle. There's a car you're going to use to get there. Mindset is the gasoline for the car. Like
mhm,
you can have a car and a destination, but not get there because
mhm,
you don't have gasoline keeping you going. And you need to continually be filling the car with gasoline. Like the mindset, because that was like a big argument that I've heard is like, oh well, mindset, like I could just mindset, but then what if I like that's not going to get me the result? But it's like mindset is the gasoline to get you to actually believe in the vehicle.
mhm.
The vehicle
Yes.
is the thing that's going to get you a result and consistency with the vehicle. And so Tony Robbins talks about this belief cycle. And in this particular conversation I had, like she was saying this, and I say this like because it's so super common. We see this happen a lot where people come to us and they're like, I've tried this and I've tried this and I've tried this and I've tried this and failed everything. And they're in this cycle of like trying something, failing. I'm doing air quotes,
Mhm,
and then like, oh, I tried this, I tried this. And they're in this like cycle. And we're like, okay, we're trying to break this cycle. It doesn't just happen by like doing the same thing you did on the last four things you tried.
mhm,
It comes from like doing something radically different. Okay. And we're trying to break the cycle. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to way out. Like, I'm just ready. Like, I gotta quit. Right. Like they're
mhm,
looking for the way out. And that's just repeating the cycle. It's
mhm,
repeating the cycle. And it's like, if we like sometimes the most loving thing is to like hold their feet to the fire and say, no, we're walking through this thing together. Right.
mhm,
Because we know if we can get you through breaking through that cycle, you're not only just breaking a pattern that's happening in your life that's been holding you back, but you're breaking that for future generations because now you have authority to teach that, to instill that to your kids because you're like, I've gone through this thing for years and years and years. I struggled with this thing and I finally broke through.
We get asked all the time, what are your favorite books? So we put together a quick free download of the top 15 most influential books that helped us grow a seven-figure business by age 30.
The cool part about this list is they're actually sequential, from the ones we read at the very beginning to the ones that are impacting our lives right now. With the list, we also have the hookup for audible.com, where you usually listen to the books on a walk or while doing the dishes. This is my favorite way to consume books. If you want the list, go to rainmakerfamily.com/deals. We also have a link to Audible there so you can listen to the books on the go. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals.
So Tony Robbins has this like four quadrant thing, and it basically starts with belief in the upper left hand corner, and it's got
Mhm,
arrows that point to the next section. So it goes belief, potential, action, results. Belief, potential, action, results. And he's like, this is the cycle that you get in either upward or downward, right? So let's go through a downward cycle potential. Okay. I tried a bunch of things in the past. This is the belief, and none of them worked. So I don't believe this thing will work. Right.
mhm,
That's your belief. If that's your belief, how much potential do you tap? Right? How much potential do you tap? Not very much because you're like, this thing's not going to work. I don't know. I'm just going to barely just try. And then because you're tapping very little of your potential, you're taking very little action. Okay. And then because you're taking very little action, your results are not great. And guess what that does? It reinforces the negative belief, oh, this doesn't work. And you're in the cycle. So to flip this, it all starts with belief. It all starts with belief, just like, I believe this is going to work. I'm going to make this work. There is no other option for me. I am committed to this thing. I'm going to be consistent with this thing. I'm going to make it work. When you're in that belief system and you're surrounding yourself with other people that also believe that and are encouraging that and sharing stories around that, then what are you going to tap? Your full potential, right? Because what's the potential of any one person? It's really unlimited. Like we've seen people rise in the most crazy circumstances. You have so much potential, but the belief is like the gasoline for that potential. So you take massive action and you get those results, right? You get crazy results. That comes from belief. It's not the results, right? That create, like, the results enforce the belief, right? But you're not going to have results when you're starting something new. You're not. So you have to get faith. You have to get belief for the thing. You have to sell yourself on the thing. You got to surround yourself with other people who are enforcing that belief. Like that's what it takes. And I know it can be hard when you don't see it. And, it's like go outside and plant a flower, right? Like it's gonna be hard to believe the flower is going to come up when you don't see it. But as soon as you start to see a tiny little thing come up, you can be like, I know there's a flower coming, and you can believe it more. There's a difference between hope and faith. Hope is like planting a flower and hoping for it to grow. Faith is like starting to see it pop out of the ground. And if you're in a season when you're not seeing it pop out, getting hope looks like getting around other people where you can see it in there now. Getting in mentors' lives, getting in community, getting in like around people where they have faith because they are currently seeing it, right? And you lean into that. It gives you hope. You borrow their faith for a season until you have faith because now you're seeing it. But it takes consistency and it takes going through, like filling up the gas tank like multiple times on the way to the destination. And that's this mindset thing. And it doesn't go away. Like me and Chelsey would be super honest with you. Like this has been an intense season for us in testing that faith muscle again, testing that hope muscle, and coming against, a lot of odds in business and entrepreneurship and feeling the pressure of that. So like, that stuff doesn't go away. It just goes to higher levels, in entrepreneurship. And if that doesn't sound like something that you want to go through, then that's okay. Like you can go up to a certain level and you can plateau out and be like, hey, this is the level I want to live at. And this is comfortable. But for us, we have big dream, we have big vision. And so that requires conquering, bigger giants, which is pretty much the same mindset at a higher level. Like it's usually not something different. It's usually just like, oh, this is the financial test again. Are you willing to risk it all? Are you willing to, are you willing to go through financial uncertainty to get to the promised land? Like we've been through this so many times. You guys were just speaking from experience and authority, and actually being in it again is just like, you have to lean in that belief. You have to.
Yeah. And I think too, like I remember before our Amazon business started to take off and before Rainmakers was at a place that it was, we went through a ton of inner working, like inner healing, our belief about money, our belief about ourselves. I think for me, the biggest thing was like, I had to get over like that money wasn't evil and that I actually deserved and could have money, like money in our hands was going to go to good. Like I had to get over this pattern and that like God wanted to bless us and God was on our side. Cause I think I'd lived for so long, like every winter season, I talk about this often, every winter season, just feeling like looking over my shoulder, like, is everything going to crumble, and having that. But, and if you were to look on the outside, people looking in at our business would be like, wow, it's so successful. Like somebody like Chelsey with booking these weddings and doing these different things. Like, of course she's strong. Why would their business crumble? But I had that unhealthy pattern that probably held us back from, even in the wedding business, raising our prices. I was afraid to do that. I was afraid to say no to certain things. All of those things affected our bottom line. Like the mindset affected the income. And so I was really thankful that before Rainmakers really started taking off, that we had a healthier foundation. And then at every level, at every corner, it gets tested again. It's like, it's not that it goes away. It just comes in a different way. And I think that I am learning that like, I'm okay with that change, even though I did this on an Instagram live the other day. I said, like, sometimes you just want to press fast forward, like on a remote control, like as if you're watching a
Mhm.
TV show, like you just want to go through it. Like, can't I just be on the other side of this? Can't I? I remember feeling that way even when I was like pregnant, because my pregnancies weren't that enjoyable. And just like, can I just get to holding the baby, But it's like, you have to go through the 9 months of figuring it out and having sick days and all of that. And I think I just want to like normalize that entrepreneurship is one thing, but life in itself is like this up and down thing, and it's learning and it's understanding and it's having the mindset of like, I am shifting and changing and evolving for the better.
Yeah.
And you see so many people resist that. And I resisted that for so long because I wanted to stay safe. I wanted to
Mhm.
stay safe. I wanted to stay safe. I'm getting it tongue twisted there. And that's where we're at now, is just like, we are hopefully soon we'll be sharing. We're going through a major life transition too. That has been like a couple years in the making, but really accelerated over the last couple of months. So we're just having intense conversations about like, what do we want? Why are we doing this thing? And we're really excited about it. It's going to be so good. I can't wait to share, but it's been intense. And, I just like every entrepreneur I talk to, every person we've ever had on this podcast, they're going to share with you some of the really hard seasons that they've gone through, like forgiveness. Like, I remember we had Amy Lacey on the show not too long ago, and she talked about the importance of forgiveness even. And how that was like a barrier for her in her business. And so just like those little things, it's just like our body, soul, spirit, like all those things are connected and affect income. They
Yeah.
really do.
I don't know. This is a kind of a crazy statement, but I would challenge you, if you're in this camp of like, I don't care about mindset. Try to find one successful person that wouldn't say mindset's important. I think it'd be really hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone we've had on the show
Mm-hmm.
is like, the mindset comes before the money.
Yeah.
It really does. Now, sometimes you just luck into something, but you see that happen. I mean, look at the stats of lottery winners or professional athletes who get the money without the mindset, without the inner work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just gets squandered.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we've seen this happen too. When people don't develop the mindset and they have a breakthrough in Rainmakers, they'll be a year or two and they're right back to where they started because they didn't do the work to like sustain the breakthrough. There's a difference between having a breakthrough and sustaining a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from building a foundation that the breakthrough can stand on. You get stronger. Like, I know Chelsea was talking about in the early days of our business, thinking like, will the business crumble? Like, she still has those thoughts, like, and we were talking about that this week, you guys. So like, and I have these thoughts every once in a while. Okay. I'm more the hopeful optimist. I just like crazy,
Can you tell? But I'm so grateful for it.
But we need that, like we have to have a crazy one and a real one.
Real one.
I just think I don't think about it too much because then it will freak me out, Like, so I had that moment in the shower the other day. I was like, gosh, like this thing we built, like we have like all these families, that like work for us. Like, that's crazy. We have hundreds of thousands of dollars of payroll to pay every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, that is freaky. That's freaky, but you don't go there overnight. You build strength in the mindset. Okay. So like that, will the business crumble? Like, that comes in knocks, but you get stronger. Just like at the gym, you're going to get stronger. You're going to hit resistance. You're going to be like, oh, this is really hard. I'm almost at my limit. Oh my gosh, this is going to break me. And then you like take a rest. And the next time you're stronger, you go further. Right. And it's the same thing with mindset. It's like you're building resilience levels in your mindset. And this is one strategy that came up on this call this morning. And so I just want to share this. So one strategy that could help you. Okay. Because again, money is this weird thing that sometimes it's a bigger giant in people's lives than other things they've broken through on. But I'm telling you, on the other side, like the same mindset that got you through other things could be the same thing that helps you here. And so with a particular Rainmaker I was talking this morning, I just heard her mention just very briefly that she had lost a lot of weight. And I stopped her and I was like, she's having all these money mindset walls, just like, oh my gosh, like freaking out about it. Right. But I'm like, wait a second, you lost how many pounds? And she told me, I'm like,
that's incredible.
Do you know that like over half of all Americans probably would just like kill to have breakthrough in that area?
Yeah.
Like, and you did that? How'd you do that? She started telling me how she did it. Right. And so I'm like, okay, I want you to coach me for a second. Okay.
Mm,
I'm going to be the one who wants to lose weight. You tell me, you coach me. So I'm like, now I'm saying all the objections and all the
mm,
same things that she was saying around money about weight. And I'm like, I tried in the past and I can't do
mm,
it. But mindset's not going to get me there. And so now she's coaching me and she's like strong and I can feel like she has authority in this thing because
mm.
she had breakthrough in
So
it.
cool.
And I was like, okay, do you see what's happening? Like that same thing is the same thing that'll help you break through in your finances, but you've made finances so much bigger. And even just saying that, she kind of went back into like, oh, but no, it's like, it's this bigger thing. It's scarier. It's like all, you know what I mean? But I'm like, no, the weight thing is super scary for a lot of people. What you broke through there,
Mm,
it's the same exact thing. And all the same tips you're just giving me, if you flip it to the financial side of things, like you will have the same breakthrough here. It's the same muscle. It's just applied to a different thing. I was like, if it helps you, stop calling it debt, stop calling it money, call it like I'm trying to lose weight in my bank account. And and I'm like, or whatever. Like, cause she was trying to reduce some debt and like hit a certain milestone by a certain time before she had to pay that debt. And so that was the thing looming that was scaring her. It's like, just treat it like weight and just apply everything you did for losing weight to this business. She
mhm,
talked about getting a coach. She talked about like personalizing her process. She talked about
mm. So
being
cool.
really consistent. She talked about like we kind of probably dig in even deeper on like what happened on days you didn't want to do it. Like what did you
Mhm,
do? Like what about the belief? What about the mindset? Like all those same things. She has authority in one place. So, anyways, I'm sharing the story as kind of a teaching story for you because there's probably an area in your life where you've had breakthrough. Like
mm,
look back at your life. There's something that was really hard
mm,
that you broke through on, and a lot of people struggle with that thing. Um, maybe it's sobriety, maybe it's weight loss, maybe it's, you know, um, conceiving a child, right? Like there's probably something in your life. Maybe it's anxiety, overcoming that. Maybe it's depression. Maybe
mm,
like there's something right now. It's coming to your mind. You're like,
mm,
wow, actually I did do that. I
mhm,
broke through on that thing. And when you look at like the general population, it's not like easy for everyone. Not everyone can just flip a switch and figure that thing out.
mhm,
Now, some people like they're going to have that gift for money. Okay. And those are the people you're learning from on this podcast. Okay. But we've gone through the mindset. And I'm just telling you, if you can apply that same mindset you
mm,
had to have that breakthrough to the money game, to the finance game, to the entrepreneurship game, it's going to
mm.
function very similarly.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
good.
it's a good game. Like I was like playing games with my mind because sometimes your brain is stuck in a pattern. You have to
Mm,
give it a game like this. Like,
that's
I'm not
good.
calling it money anymore. I'm calling it financial depression, right? Because I overcame depression and I know how I did it. And so
Mm,
I'm going to overcome financial depression. I'm going to use all the same strategies, but I'm applying them to finance,
that's good.
right? And so, or like weight loss, right? Like you just change the terms. So instead of like calling it budgeting, you're calling it dieting, right?
Mhm,
And like, it's just like, you're just changing the terms of something that you are familiar with and you have authority in. And you're
mm,
applying that authority to another territory.
that's
And that's
good.
called being a pioneer. Okay.
Mm, that's good. And I just want to encourage you just some practical things that I've done in the past and will probably continue to do throughout the rest of my entire life is just really taking thoughts captive and rewiring my mind. So for me, like literally today, I have a bunch of post-it notes in my bathroom. I've shared this before when I was going through this whole health transformation. And I would read those out loud in the morning and at night, and I would just declare them over my body. And it became this like thing that I actually believed and that my body believed in too. And so I'm going to go to a coffee shop today and I'm going to do the same thing. And I want to encourage you to do that too. Like, what is a lie that I'm believing? Replace it with the truth, write it on a post it note, put it somewhere you can see, and repeat those statements in the morning and at night. And I was honestly like, I was also scrolling on Instagram recently, and I love following Dr. Amen. He's all about like your brain and your brain scans and just all this research on your brain. And he was saying one of the most powerful things that you can say in the morning to get your subconscious and your brain like functioning together is just waking up and saying, today's going to be an awesome day. Today's going to be a really good day, especially on those days where you're like, oh man, the kids are up early. I slept in late. Like I need a third cup of coffee, like whatever it is. And just saying like, today's going to be a really good day, you know? And it can be a really good day no matter what. And so I think like also like if you are it doesn't matter where you're at, early stage or you've been in business for a long time, just really like carving out time for your business is super important. And having a game plan and being consistent, it really does pay off. I look at Like I, for the last year and a half, have been trying to grow a personal brand, it's been like awesome. But it's been also very challenging. And I have to remind myself that some of my friends, even that are in the industry or people that I look up to that have these big followings, it's like that didn't happen overnight. They've been doing it for like 5, 6, 10 years, being consistent every single week showing up. And so I know that I will eventually have those followers. And if I don't quit, and if I stay consistent, and if I continue to put like my messaging out there into the world, but it takes that consistency. And I just think like, I don't want you to view this as like, oh, Stephen and Chelsey, you're just giving us another rah rah like speech. Like, this isn't a rah rah thing. This is like real. And I've seen it over and over again with countless people who are in the entrepreneur space or in just in life that have gone through crazy stuff. They've gone through crazy stuff and the highs and the lows. And it's all about like your perspective and how can you turn this into something that you can like win and do and have it be for you instead of against you. And I just want to encourage you with that like, that's what I'm personally doing and committed to doing probably for the rest of my life because I've seen the power and I've seen it be important. And I want to leave you with something too that I remember when I first started working with my functional medicine doctor, who we've had on the podcast. I've talked about multiple times. I hit a really low point after having Ollie and I knew something was off. And I remember starting to work with her and I wanted like a quick pill, I did. I wanted the quick fix so that I could feel better, so I could lose the weight, so I could fit into the pile of jeans that were in our other room. Like I wanted that. And we all want the pill. We all want the secret pill. And I'm here to tell you, like, there really isn't a magical pill, And if there is a magical pill or somebody says that there is, it probably won't last. And it might do more harm to your body and to your business than actually good. So I just remember her telling me like, you're on this journey to like heal your body from the inside out and to make you whole and to make you feel good. And it's not going to be like, you actually don't want to lose weight like crazy fast. Like it's going to be like a slower process so that you are really healing and creating a sustainable lifestyle for you and your family. And I remember hearing that and it was like not what I wanted to hear. In fact, I almost was like, I reject that. I don't accept that, And I know that there are like stories and everything in between, but I just thought that's really stuck with me as like a metaphor for life and for business. It's like to really get on the other side, to really build authority, to really build wealth, to really build those mindsets that will go the distance. Sometimes it does take time. And time could be a week when you want it in a day, and time, it's just like, what is time? Time could be like a week that it takes you to do this thing when you really wanted the answer in a day, or it could be a month when you really want to figure out the problem in a week, So it's just like, I just want to encourage you, like we are at Rain, like Steve and I care that this is like that your business will sustain you and your family and that it won't take you out in the process. And that actually, as you build the wealth muscle, as you create more income in your bank account, that your mindset is changing and you are evolving for the better in the process. Like that's like so important to us. So with that, you guys, we're going to end this episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If it resonated with you at all, we'd love to hear from you. Would you be willing to share this on social media, tag Stephen or myself? We'd love to see what podcasts are really lighting you up and giving you a breakthrough. And as always, we appreciate you sharing this with any friends or family that you think might need to hear it as well.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmakers is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah, if you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.